When David Jade became a cop, he was ready for the danger. Ready for the violence. The only thing he wasn't ready for...
Freeze. Dave? Peter.
...was his twin brother.
You got all the bad chromosomes, not me. Come on, man, this isn't funny.
They grew up on opposite sides of the law.
You are a hell of a cop. You're a hell of a liar.
Peter, do you ever tell the truth?
Not if I can help it.
But now they've joined forces.
This is your new partner.
No way.
Yes way.
To crack the crime of the century.
International Diamond Exchange. On any given day, maybe $5 billion in diamonds.
Billion with a B?
And give the underworld a head-splitting dose of double vision.
Sit up here to make everyone forgive and forget.
Book 'em, Davo.
Starring David Paul, Peter Paul, Roddy McDowall, David Carradine, Troy Donahue, Star Trek's James Doohan, and introducing Colin Burnson. Double Trouble.
You two really do look alike. Shut up, Whitney.
Distributed by Columbia TriStar Home Video.
Welcome to They Call This a Movie, testing the strength of friendships one terrible movie at a time. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and other podcast services by searching They Call This a Movie, and find us on Twitter and Instagram at TicTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. Welcome back to They Call This a Movie. This is Anthony Delvecchio. With me, as always, is Dan Aquino and Mark Myers. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hi, guys.
Oh, thank God you're back. I didn't want to have to do the plot for this, Anthony.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't here the last time.
Yeah, the last time we did a movie.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I was here. Dan was here last week.
Yeah. But seriously, hope everybody out there had a good New Year. I just was so glad that this movie wasn't one of the stinkers to start 2024 off on a bad foot.
Yeah.
My New Year Eve was really rough. I found out one of my favorite bands of all time is Woke.
Oh, no.
No more Green Day for this guy. Who would have thought American Idiot was Woke?
Put it in the trash with your Rage Against the Machine albums.
I burned those a long time ago. Those sellouts.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
They hid their political stance so well for so many years.
Yeah, it's so like you would really have to listen to those albums. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like if you weren't in the know, it'd be impossible to figure out that those two bands were political.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like some of their most famous songs were politically charged at all.
No.
Or like an entire album.
Well,
I'm curious as to what people thought the what was the one song? The Bulls on Parade.
Yeah.
Wearing the badge makes you justified. I wonder what that means. Whatever could it mean?
Or Green Day's Holiday, that whole song.
Yeah.
I love what people just tell on themselves. It's great.
They don't. Yeah, the Rage Against the Machine thing is great because I told the story of my one cousin who had an Evil Empire. Right, that was Evil Empire, right? That was Rage, right?
Yeah, with the kid.
Yeah, the kid. Yeah. Had that poster on the wall, and then he yelled in a Facebook chat with all of us how they were political now. Yeah. And I just laughed. I was like, oh, no. But yeah, the Green Day thing was the funniest thing I was following during New Year's Eve.
It was beautiful. Everyone had a meltdown.
Yeah.
And it's not like he hasn't changed the lyrics to that song multiple times since it's been released.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime someone comes along that's a douchebag, they pretty much change it to that person. Like they went after Ted Cruz at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's the same people who think there's no politics in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like the Empire doesn't stand for America.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's media literacy is fun.
Yeah, Good stuff, man. But yeah, 2024, terrible start for me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I missed it because I was asleep by 11:30.
Oh,
Years.
been hang for 30 more minutes?
I was like, you know what? My wife and I, we polished off an entire bottle of wine together and then a bottle of champagne. And then I was like, you know what? I'm good. She fell asleep before me. Like, you know what?
It'll be here next year, right?
Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to miss much. It's not like I don't have cable, so I can't watch the Twilight Zone marathon anymore.
Who did they have on? You missed Paul Anka.
I heard.
Remember, kids? Everyone loves him.
Yeah. And 2024 came with Paul Anka's guarantee.
It did.
Except for sorry, Tennessee.
I was at work and I sent you guys the picture of the Paul Anka tape that I had to transfer. I was like, this is hilarious. I can't remember the last time I heard Paul Anka's name. Lo and behold, I turned the TV on. There he is singing Imagine in the slowest cadence possible.
Does he sing like Tony Bennett?
Yes. He was singing My Way, but it was his version of My Way. And it sounded nothing like Sinatra's version. I don't think there was a single word in it that was Sinatra's. But I just kept thinking, who is this possibly for? Everyone who likes Paul Anka is dead.
It's probably for Paul Anka.
It's for Paul Anka. Yeah, very strange.
Made some terrible money decisions the past decade.
I can do that song.
He was asking where Dick Clark was the whole night. You see my buddy Dick Clark? I keep telling you, Mr. Anka, he's been dead for a decade.
I think Paul Anka was stuck holding the bag for AMC stocks.
Ooh, yeah. He had gorilla hands.
Yeah, he had. Too strong a diamond hands.
Yeah, diamond hands, yeah. He wanted to go to the moon.
Remember that? Remember that, guys?
Oh, man.
Left that back in 2022.
Yeah. I benefited from that. I was a stock bro for 4 months.
Yeah. It was not for me. Was not for me.
No, I had my fun. I got out. I should have let Paul Anka know.
You should have.
Let me get out, man.
Why'd you keep it a secret?
I thought he knew.
Anyway, yes, it is now 2024. We left 2023 in the dust, and we're kicking things off right. This week was my pick, and I picked... Well, first I picked the movie that I thought was another movie entirely. I didn't realize that there were 2 Barbarian Brother movies. But there's 4, actually, if you count DC Cab and The Barbarians. But I went in thinking that we were going to watch Twin Sitters, because I told you guys it was basically Mr. Nanny, but with 2 beefy dudes. But we're actually watching Double Trouble, which is sort of like the Cynthia Rothrock movie that we watched with David Carradine.
Yeah.
With 2 beefy dudes.
A lot of movie.
I would have just loved if somebody back then would have had the great idea of just remaking certain types of action movies and just saying it's like that movie, but with 2 beefy dudes.
Yeah. You know what? They probably could have had a longer career if they had somebody doing that for them, pitching that.
It's like Die Hard, but with 2 beefy dudes.
Oh, I'd watch that.
It's Kindergarten Cop with 2 beefy dudes.
Yep, would.
Yeah, sure. That we're jumping a little bit ahead here, and I apologize, but just spoiler alert. I thought these guys weren't that bad. David and Peter Paul. They had a little bit of charisma to them. I could see if they had someone in their corner, they might have had an okay career.
Yeah, they could have done great in the B action movie genre.
Yeah,
from the late 80s to the mid 90s.
Had a lot of fun with this movie. Yeah. I think these guys they knew what they were. The fight scene in the middle of the movie had me cracking up. It was so silly.
Is that when they went into the China shop?
Yeah.
That scene's great because immediately after there's the part where it's and action, and it starts where they jump out of the store.
Yeah.
It was fun overall.
I'm thinking of Martial Law. That was the
the Cynthia Rock
with Chad McQueen. Yeah, very similar. But so I want to know where you guys are coming from with the Barbarian Brothers and Double Trouble. Dan, Where you come from?
So I'm just like you, and I thought these guys were only in one movie ever, which was Barbarians, because I had seen that on Red Letter Media. They had covered it. I was like, oh, all right, I know who these guys are, and they seem like, they just seem like two bumbling, meaty dudes. And there's actually a little bit more to them, and I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, I would say. But so I had never heard of this movie, but I was very excited to kick off 2024 with the Paul brothers. And yeah, I thought this movie was a lot of fun. I'm there. It lulls in parts. It definitely drags, but these guys, they have a little charisma to them. There's some charm there, and they play well off each other. Like you said, they know exactly what this movie is and what they're in. They're not trying to play it super straight or not trying to play it super goofy. They kind of hit they overact for sure at parts, but so does everybody. I loved Roddy McDowall, his character, the villain, just chewing the scenery every chance he gets. The action scenes were a little slow. Like you could tell they were choreographed, but there's some funny parts in this movie. We were talking off the podcast. There's like a little running gag where they turn vehicles over. The Paul brothers. That was really funny.
Yeah, they don't. I think what makes it funny, Dan, is that they don't show you them turning the vehicle over.
Yeah, it's just
the vehicle is just turned over.
Yeah, the villain comes out and the vehicle's just turned over, but like perfectly turned over. Yeah, it was good. I think the plot was easy enough to follow. It didn't try to do too much. I'm not going to say every joke landed, but
no.
For what it was, it, like Mark, you were saying, a B movie.
Yeah.
I thought it did the job.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay. All right, Mark, where are you coming from?
Yeah, so I like everyone here, I probably have only seen or heard about the Barbarians. And going into this, I'm like, okay, is this going to be like, because we've watched some 80s movies, action stuff that's supposed to be like campy, but people take it way too seriously. And within the first couple, scenes with the spraying the cat burglar thing on the wall, I was like, nope, that the people that made this movie know exactly what type of movie they're making. Just to be really stupid and to just have these two guys that look alike. I thought they were going to play more into that than they did. Maybe it was better they didn't. But yeah, the charisma between the brothers was probably the best part. There were times when I think the only interaction with anybody that was any good was between them and Whitney, the FBI agent. I think them and the villains didn't really have much. I think that might be more the villains' problem than the brothers. It just didn't seem to flow right. The whole interaction, the whole what's the word for? Relationship between the brothers. Like, I don't know how much they brought from their real life, but you could feel like the backstory without them telling you about the two brothers. Sure. Even before they kind of reveal it a little bit in the car, but the way they act towards each other, which is a good thing about having real brothers, kind of felt good, and didn't seem forced. They seemed to be really good at landing jokes on each other. When they had to do it off actual trained actors is where it fell flat a few times. I think the two scenes I laughed at the most, I had a good chuckle at how real dumb the planting of the drugs on the one cop was, where they just dumped the person and threw the drugs on the crowd. Just the way they shot it more than the actual tone of it. And when the Paul brothers get back in their last name's Paul, right?
Yeah,
okay. The Paul brothers get back in the car, and then they realize that they don't have the steering wheel for the car. Yeah. That moment of realization is probably my favorite interaction between them, because it was really well done. I don't know how many shots they did of this stuff because the one Paul brother was in the same shirt for half the movie. Maybe they got this in one or two takes, but they had a lot of really good gags, and it was entertaining. I did not go back to my judgment. I did not look at the clock, like the time remaining, until the very end. And I was like, when they had the whole interaction with the big bad inside the trailer at the construction site, and then the bad guys sort of, do what they do, and I'm like, how much is left in this? Like, this feels like it's got like 25 minutes, and then it said like 6 minutes, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a really fast ending. Got it. But yeah, very well paced for this type of movie. It was really weird, but entertaining.
Yeah, no, it's a breezy watch. It's like an hour and 25, a little longer with the commercials if you watch it on Tubi. But these guys surprised me. Like, I've seen Twin Sitters. I don't remember why I've seen Twin Sitters. It was literally like playing on like TBS or TNT maybe 15 years ago. Why in 2008 or whatever year it was it playing on TNT or TBS? No idea. And why did I watch it? No idea. But I did. I haven't seen Double Trouble, but I'm glad we watched it this week. It's so charming. It's a charming film because it just harkens back to a genre that doesn't really exist anymore. Like these direct-to-video, high concept action movies that maybe cost like a few $1 million to make, with just the idea behind it is that these two dudes are huge. It's like this guy. It's like this guy's muscly, and guess what? There's two of them. That's basically the point, and that's how they sold the movie. It's sort of like Malibu when
they're on McBee.
Yeah. It's just like this dude's got an incredible head of hair, and he's also huge. That's basically him.
This is what I want Godzilla and Kong to be. Just, hey, here's a big monster. Here's another big monster.
Exactly.
They're teaming up.
It's like, don't sweat the small stuff. There's no point to doing so. It's just, it is what it is. Yeah. And yeah, I love it.
Yeah. We were talking off before the podcast that it's a shame that they didn't have a manager and agent in their corner that would just go around and find people to just rewrite famous movies, but just have it be that movie with two beefy dudes.
Yeah, like imagine a Barbarian Brothers version of like Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Where they get access to a time machine. That's fun.
Yes.
And they could literally go anywhere in time.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could send them back to like ancient Roman times, and they have to, save a damsel in distress kind of movie.
Yeah,
but it would work.
I mean, I think I think that's basically the Barbarians. Is it not?
Yeah.
I think that's the plot of the Barbarians.
That's like evil, I don't know, fantasy.
Yeah. But just going through time and always encountering like bikini babes like they do in this movie.
Oh, I had that written down. Every girl wants to fuck these guys.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're big guys.
And every girl they come in contact with is like a dime.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and they're swooning for them.
Yeah. Including we got Bobby Brown from the Warrant Cherry Pie video.
Oh, is she in this?
She plays his girlfriend for that one scene.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There you go. Makes sense. I had written down, if this movie were to be remade today, it would 100% be John Cena, and it would just be digitally duplicating him.
Oh yeah, I'd watch that too.
It would be funny because he has a very good comedic timing, but I think it would lose something because it's not real twins.
Right, that is true.
Like these guys, you can kind of tell they know how to push each other's buttons in real life, and it kind of shows.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine if like one of them was just fat. Or like there was a choice made at some point, right, in their lives where like they're both like, let's just get fucking huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, commit to it.
Yeah, because they could have went either way. It's like one guy just be skinny.
Yeah,
it'll just be out of shape. But no, they're like, let's go for it. Let's just be absolute blocks of meat.
I wonder if one of them maybe was like not all in at one point, and the other one had to like have a real sit down with him. Like, this is our only way to succeed, man. You gotta weigh 285, solid muscle. This is our only way that we're gonna make it in show business. Is if you're just a brick shithouse with me.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so glad they did it.
Yeah, they gotta still be around, I'd imagine, right? Like they're alive, I would assume.
It seems like it.
I don't see any death dates, so
It's good.
I don't know if they're still acting.
They haven't. Doesn't seem like they've done something since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they were natural born killers. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, the Hun brothers deleted scene.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to tell you for sure. Getting into this movie, the bar was on the floor. I was not expecting anything from these two, and I'm not going to sit here and say they turned in a groundbreaking performance.
No,
but they didn't seem like they were remembering their lines.
Sure.
It wasn't like Hulk Hogan,
right?
When he's doing it, you could tell it's just, I remember this line. I'm reading this now.
Yeah.
These guys had a little bit more flow to it, and again, there's just obviously having that brotherly connection. It shows. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah. Just looking at some of their other movies. Think Big, which was directed by John Turteltaub of National Treasure fame.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Interesting.
Written by Jim Wynorski, who we've covered a couple of times. But
the only sad thing would be if the reason their acting career stalled out is because one of them wanted to go to become a serious actor.
Oh yeah,
that would be the only thing that would be sad.
That would be
yeah. The two truckers hired to transport toxic waste across the country get caught up with a teen genius who stows away in their truck. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it would be a great idea to have any sort of scrawny nerd paired with these guys.
Yeah.
That's just comedic gold.
Yep.
Man. Yeah, that's why I wanted a little more Whitney in this movie, to be honest.
I will say it got a little repetitive with like making fun of the Whitney character for his name.
Right. Yeah, the name jokes. But I meant, if they would have had situations where like things that only the Paul brothers could do, but Whitney was with them. Like, we need to climb up this rope.
Oh, and he can't do it. Yeah, these guys just shoot up the rope, no problem. And meanwhile, he's still struggling on the bottom.
Yeah.
I could have used him more as a comedic foil,
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed when they offed Denitra, I think her name was.
Yeah.
The original partner to David. I loved her. I thought she was great in the couple scenes she was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then she was not long for this world, unfortunately.
Mm-mm.
You needed motivation.
Yep.
Right. Mark, you brought up the Oakland Raiders sweatshirt that he wears.
Yeah.
I wish people other than his brother acknowledge that's the only thing he wears in the movie.
Yeah, because this movie does not take place over a single day. It's like a week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he wears it 6 out of the 7 days.
Yeah.
And the other day is they're in suits the other day.
Yeah.
I thought the joke was going to be he's too massive for his uniform, like his police uniform. It's just never really talked about.
Yeah. When they're in the suits and they go to sit down at dinner, I thought there was going to be like a rip.
Oh, yeah. That would have been good.
Yeah. Because he keeps like tugging at it because it's like it's a fitted suit.
It's too restrictive.
Yeah. So when he sits down, that'd have been good.
Yeah. Another thing they don't talk about in the beginning, David is in his apartment and he's lifting weights in the most obnoxious. It would have gotten him kicked out of Planet Fitness.
Yes, the lunk alarm would be going off.
I guess the joke is it sounds like he's having sex.
Yeah.
Right, because they pan over to the next door neighbor who's like Anthony said, a fucking smoke show.
Yeah.
And she's all hot and bothered. Like, he must be tearing it up or whatever. But I wish they would have acknowledged that a little bit more, or at least had David and Peter have a lift off, or like see who could lift more. But their immense strength is never really, maybe once or twice, other than lifting up a goddamn plane, but it's never really talked about.
Yeah, they have a lift off in the apartment, and the neighbor hears two guys going at it. Yeah. And she sticks her head out, and then they walk, two of them, and she faints.
Yeah. I'm seeing double here.
4
J's.
That reminds me of my second favorite gag in the movie, which is that guy at the health club, the doorman.
Oh, that was
the one brother walks through, and then the other one comes through. And goes, which way did I go?
Let's go in there. Yeah, those were pretty funny, and I think smartly, they didn't call attention to it too much.
Right.
Instead of everywhere they go, people are like, whoa, what is going on here? Like, well, twins are a thing. People know twins exist.
Yeah. I do love movies in which these just muscle-bound dudes just walk around normal human beings. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where he's trying to be a normal person, like Jingle All the Way.
Right.
Where it's just this massive dude, just like obviously you don't belong here. As we watch these guys like try and type on a computer with their big sausage hands.
That's so great.
I'm not typing again. Yeah, it's almost the fish out of water type of scenario.
Yeah.
But it's done not too many times, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of restraint is shown in this movie.
Yeah. So, Double Trouble from 1992 is directed by John Paragon, who directed a bunch of TV, but also wrote Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Twin Sitters, Elvira's Haunted Hills. Stars Peter Paul, David Paul, Roddy McDowall, David Carradine, Steve Canale, Tony Donahue, AJ Johnson, Bill Mumy, James Doohan, Colin Burnson, and Timothy Stack. IMDb score of 4.1 and a Rotten Tomatoes score, no critics, but a 40% audience score. And I did not see any budgets, or obviously this is direct to video, so no box office. Yeah, we got Corbin Burnson's brother as Whitney in this.
Colin Burnson. I didn't know he had a brother.
Yeah, I didn't either. And also, Notch Johnson plays one of the cops.
And Charlie's mom from Always Sunny in Philadelphia is also a cop.
Oh, is she? I missed her.
Lynn Marie Stewart. Yeah, she's the one who keeps asking David to buy Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that was Charlie's mom. So we've gotten Mac's mom.
Yes.
And we've gotten Charlie's mom.
And we have the original Scotty from Star Trek and James Doohan.
Yep. Have we gotten Dee's and Dennis's mom yet? I don't know who plays her, but I think she's relatively famous.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had her though.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys want to get into the plot?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
All right. Dan, what you got for us?
All right. So guys, just real quick, if you would please do me a favor, go check out these two podcasts that if you listen to our podcast before, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The first is the Top 10 with Tia. Tia has been a guest on this show quite a few times. She's very lovely. She's hilarious. Her and her friend Brittany have a podcast where they run top 10 lists of the week. So if that's something you're interested in, go to geekvibesnation.com. Just search the Top 10 with Tia. It'll pop right up. And also our very own Mark Myers has a podcast with our good friends Tom and Jenny called the Game Vault Podcast. It is a bi-weekly podcast where they talk about video game news, video games that they're playing, games that they would recommend for people, and they talk about old school games in their retro roulette segments. So, Super Nintendo, Sega, a lot of the stuff that people like us grew up with and remember fondly. So if that's something that you are also interested in, go to Game Vault Pod on all socials. Please give them a follow. And they also stream on Twitch at Game Vault Pod. It's a lot of fun. And again, if you're into video games, highly recommend it.
Okay, great. And we are going to take a quick break, and you guys are going to listen to messages from friends of the podcast. So we will be right back.
Hey, this is Ken M.
And Padawan J.
from the ODPH podcast.
Each week, we talk a parlay of topics.
That's right. Whether it's sports, pro wrestling, movies, TV, comics, and more, we've got a take on it.
And don't forget, odphpodcast.com for links for Patreon, TeePublic, and the Parlay Points blogs, and much more.
Thanks for listening to the ODPH podcast. Now back to your regularly scheduled show.
Welcome, travelers. Seems like you're looking for a story. Well, I got one for you. It involves adventure, friendship, and all sorts of...
Earl, why don't you tell him about that time I stole that big-ass melon?
Yeah, I was going for more...
Or you could tell him about the time I kicked her ass, Earl.
I wouldn't ever tell them.
Do I need to get my ref gear on?
Okay, everyone, shut up. Now come with me as I tell you a story from afar. Hey everybody, my name's David. I'm the DM for From Afar Podcast. A From Afar Podcast is all about four friends separated by distance, but brought together by adventure. Hope you all stop by and give us a listen. Thanks.
And welcome back. Now it's time to get into plot 4, Double Trouble. We open on a driver arriving to a hotel to pick up someone named Rosehill. Rosehill is a bit prickly because the driver is late, and Rosehill happens to have a briefcase handcuffed to himself. They head to LAX, but as they head there, they get stuck in a funeral procession. Rosehill tells the driver to go around, but the driver says he can't because it's his funeral. He then shoots Rosehill right in the throat.
This should have been the moment to clue me in that it was going to be a really nice campy movie.
Yeah. Funeral procession stops and some suited guy step out with a saw and saw open the briefcase that is handcuffed to Rosehill. Inside the briefcase looks to be some sort of mirror-plated hard drive or something.
I did like the switch here where you thought he was going to cut the wrist off.
Yeah.
What I thought, I was so disappointed. Because Bob, the henchman, even does the wincing face, like, ooh, that looks painful. But he's just cutting the briefcase, not the hand.
Yeah, it's a well done shot.
Yeah. Bob, played by Bill Mummy, who was the kid from that one Twilight Zone episode with the where he's got the special powers.
Oh, is that the Bart episode?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then later at the Diamond Exchange, someone breaks into it after hours and sets on using a laser to open up one of the diamond safes. Among the diamonds and banknotes, the thief also finds one of these hard drive looking things, which he pockets. He then calls the police to report his own burglary after he leaves his calling card of a spray painted cat on the wall. Caller goes in, and responding to a call is one of the Barbarian Brothers and his partner, who was working Vice probably when the call came in. They show up brandishing their guns to get the security guard to let them in. And then David runs up the steps to try and stop the burglar.
A really unnecessary shot of the security guard's butt crack.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it, too.
You get full crack.
Finds the burglar on the roof, spray painting another cat. And surprise, surprise, it's the other Barbarian brother, this one, Peter. And Dave asks his brother why he isn't in jail where he's supposed to be. And they talk for a little bit, and after Peter fakes falling off the roof, Dave unloads a clip at his brother, never sure that he's trying to actually kill him or not.
Yeah.
Inconclusive.
He does graze him.
Yeah. But when Dave is out of bullets, Peter rappels down the roof and gets away in his convertible. Back at the precinct, the other cops rib Dave for not catching the cat burglar by giving him a cat. The cat dispensary system at work here. And in his report, Dave says that it was a 7-foot Chinese guy with blonde hair. His partner tells Dave to go home to blow off some steam while she goes to meet with a guy that knows something about something. And when Dave brings the cat home and he locks eyes with his hot neighbor, then sets the cat up with some food and some litter, then does some bench presses and jeans and makes some really weird noises when he does it, which the neighbor could hear. Sounds like he's fucking.
We never see that neighbor again.
Nope. I think besides Charlie's mom, no woman has 2 scenes. Really.
Yeah, that's true. Every girl that interacts with the Paul brothers is only in 1 scene, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, the partner's in 3.
Right.
But she's a main character.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think she wants to bang him.
No.
Meanwhile, Peter is in a really nice house training with his girlfriend, Bobby Brown, from the Cherry Pie video. And he shows off one of the diamonds he stole. Dave's partner, Denitra, winds up going to the train yard to meet up with her contact, but it turns out he's dead in what appears to be a heroin overdose. When Denitra goes to leave, she's hit from someone off screen and then is shot execution style. In the morning, the train yard is a crime scene, and Dave is there with the captain. The captain tells him that they found heroin in her purse and pushes Dave on any info about why she was meeting with the other dead guy.
Yeah, and surprisingly, the planted drugs were not by the cops in this case.
Yeah, but that's another thing that doesn't come into play.
Yeah, I guess it warrants an investigation, but the investigation isn't. Well, it's probably in in a real life situation like this. It's like, well, she's just there to buy drugs, and that's why she was there.
Right.
So they don't look into why she's meeting with this guy from Kent Construction.
Yeah, I think the only person that does is David.
Yeah.
He puts the pieces together, but no one else from the precinct or anyone else does. And maybe they were doing real life that it takes 2 to 3 weeks for the blood tox to come back.
Right.
That's why they didn't know anything.
And then one of the other cops, Notch Johnson, makes a comment about maybe Denitra was a heroin user after all, so Dave punches him straight up into the air.
Totally not coded at all.
Yeah. And into some swings. There's a swing set apparently at this train yard.
Yeah, very weird.
Meanwhile, the guys that killed Rosehill are watching the security tapes of the break-in that Peter did. Roddy McDowall throws his weight around to his henchman as his head of security shot and killed right there.
And the one Paul brother does the what's his name from Guardians of the Galaxy thing with the middle finger here. We know where Chris Pine got it,
Chris Pratt.
Pratt. Sorry, I confused my Chris's. It's late.
Yeah, he definitely watched Double Trouble.
He watched Double Trouble.
Well, I have another scene where someone probably watched Double Trouble for something.
We'll get there.
I think I know what it is.
Okay. So Peter goes and robs another jewelry store and calls the cops again, this time asking for his brother by name. Then sets up a Wile E. Coyote sort of snare trap that he accidentally traps himself in. So when his brother shows up, the same Raiders cut-off shirt he wore the night before, Peter is hanging from the ceiling. Dave shows up and knocks his brother out and then puts him behind bars. Peter tries to bribe his brother, but David refuses, then tells all the other guys in the jail cell who he is supposedly put in there that Peter is his brother. Dave then gets put in front of the police chief, who calls him out for assaulting another police officer. Then they get to the point of the meeting to introduce his new partner, his own brother.
And the fact that the brother doesn't have a bruise on him, are we to assume that he beat the shit out of everyone in that jail cell?
I would think so.
That would have been a funny cutaway. How did you even get out of there? And they just do a quick flash to all the guys, like, oh my god, my head, just everyone on the ground.
Yeah. His brother negotiated information for immunity. Dave outright quits before he plans to work with his brother, but then his brother calls him a quitter, so he rescinds his resignation. They're also partnered with a federal agent named Whitney. On a trip to the bathroom, Whitney immediately loses track of Peter, who sneaks out a bathroom window while Whitney talks about his family. Whitney's from Philly.
Hell yeah.
But not really.
He doesn't have an accent.
Ain't no way that guy's from Philly.
He's probably from outside Philly.
Yeah, probably went to Villanova.
Yep. I was going to make that joke, and I didn't know if it would land.
Well, I did it for you. Peter Scale. What was that? Okay. Peter
thank you.
Okay. Peter scales the outside of the building and drops to the first floor, right to where his brother expected him to be. And Dave tells Peter to go back to the bathroom and back to Whitney, who is still talking about his family.
Yeah, I do. The one gag here that I love was the taking the water line out of the toilet to make it seem like he was peeing.
Like Whitney's story about his sister and her legs that are different sizes.
Her one, the left leg's like an inch and a half shorter.
Yeah, I wonder if there was there's probably not like a DVD or anything with outtakes or anything, but I wonder if they just like rolled the camera on this guy and just told him to just start saying the most ludicrous stories about his family.
Yeah.
And they took whichever one was like the funniest or like most realistic.
Yeah.
I also liked in this movie how they made one of the Hall brothers pretty innovative. Mark, you were saying he took the water line out of the toilet to make it sound like he was peeing. He rigs up the snare. He finds, at one point, I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but he finds some type of wiring at one of the bad guys' houses and is able to kind of deduce what it is.
Yeah.
Wow, it's kind of believable because again, the way he says these lines, he's not reading it. He's like, "Oh yeah, look, check out what I found. Look what I did." And, oh, cool.
Yeah, and then the great gag of it's perfectly harmless in this thing and throws it and it explodes.
That's a good moment too. Yeah. Three of them go to meet with a money launderer, Philip Chamberlain, who owns the diamond company Peter stole from. When he says they think he's using a diamond company to launder drug money, they go to Peter's house where they meet his sexy neighbors, and they realize his front door is open. They go in guns drawn and find his house turned upside down, even the painting of himself. Peter gets dressed, but when Whitney tries to go to his closet to get Peter a pair of shoes, a gunman jumps out and knocks him out. But the brothers literally pull a rug out from underneath him. They use a muscle stimulator machine to torture him until he tells them who sent him. Tells them a guy named Tito, and then gives him an address. So they trap him under a barbell and leave Whitney knocked out to find that guy Tito. Show up to the location, and Dave handcuffs his brother to the car interior while he goes inside to investigate. Sneaks into the building, then tries to sneak into the penthouse through the stairwell, but one of the goons pulls a gun on him. But as he's moving Dave, Peter comes out of nowhere and knocks the goon out with his one punch, as Peter still has Dave's steering wheel attached to him via handcuffs.
That's my one big gripe with this movie. The punches are obviously short.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to punch someone, they're not connecting. It's not edited correctly.
Right.
The edit shows you the punch is way in front of the actor.
Sure.
Instead of shooting it in a way where it looks like he connects.
Right.
So that's one of the big gripes I have with this movie. It happens quite a bit.
Gotcha. So he handcuffs him from the steering wheel, and Peter also has a pass key for the penthouse, which he got by knocking out a security guard earlier. So the guys go knocking on the door of the penthouse with the knocked out security guard propped up into the peephole like a Weekend at Bernie's type decoy. Then start a firefight with the goons. Wind up shooting a few of them while others manage to escape via rappelling off the side of the building. One of the guys that tries to rappel gets stuck as Dave pulls the raffle wire back up. So the other goons shoot the stuck guy and then grab the dropped money bag. But as they drive away, we haven't mentioned this moment. Dave manages to pull off an enormous satellite dish off the roof and then tosses it off the roof like a frisbee, crashing it down onto the car.
It's a discus.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's
incredible.
I think at one point they showed the shadow of it over the other brother.
Yes. It's wild. I loved it. The goons, though, get into another car and drive away. The brothers try to pursue, but they realize they don't have the steering wheel attached, so they can't pursue. Eventually go back to Peter's house to find the guy they trapped underneath the barbell has had his throat slashed, while Whitney is still alive but still unconscious.
I was talking to my wife about that scene where Whitney gets knocked unconscious, and then it was David and Paul or Peter. They're talking about, what are we gonna do with Whitney? And one of them says, what about him? And they just leave him. That guy could have gotten out and killed Whitney, or as what happens, the bad guys come back to the house and they still could have killed Whitney. So it's pretty selfish, pretty reckless for you to just leave your partner behind, a federal agent to just die.
Yeah, but they don't care about Whitney.
They don't. They really don't until the end.
Yeah. Then Peter admits that he doesn't have any evidence and just wants to save himself from jail. So they get into a ridiculous fist fight. It starts in the apartment, spills out into the street, winds up in the backseat of an old couple's car, into a china shop, and finally in the back of an alley of the same china shop, where they punch each other in the face until they are too tired to continue, which I loved. This is such a good scene. They then go get some burgers and talk about their family. Peter asks Dave why he dropped out of school. And Dave said that he had to work because Peter was in jail and Dad had Alzheimer's until he died. So here's the part where somebody watched this movie. I randomly was flipping through Netflix and I came across Ricky Gervais's new comedy special. Yeah. Now, I didn't watch it, but Netflix will autoplay like a 30-second clip of stuff.
Yeah.
And he says a nearly identical joke.
Oh.
About, like, Dave says something to the fact of Dad had Alzheimer's. He started to forget everything until eventually he forgot to wake up.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais has a joke where he says, it was either his mom or his dad, forgot to keep living.
Huh. Interesting.
It's very close to the same joke.
Yeah. Or he worked with that writer at some point.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, that is pretty coincidental.
It's coincidental that I randomly came across it yesterday.
Yeah. What are the odds? Unless that's kind of a known way of saying, like a saying for people who have Alzheimer's that maybe we don't know about?
Right. I don't know.
Forget until they forget to wake up.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's the last person I would imagine.
Yeah. I don't think Ricky Gervais watched this, but it was just funny that like they had incredibly similar jokes.
Yeah.
But then Peter drags Dave away from his burger to go get something more edible, something with carcinogens on the side, probably. Another good joke.
Even in 1992, they knew that red meat was a class 1 carcinogen. Look at that. These guys, they knew what was up.
Only one of them did, though.
Only one of them did, yeah.
And he brings him to
the other one likes to eat protein powder out of the jar.
True. Can I tell you something real quick?
Yeah.
I've tried that. I don't recommend it. I
didn't get the feeling to try it after watching this movie.
Yeah, don't do it, guys.
Okay. Thank you. You saved me.
Yeah. Was that on your bucket list for 2024?
Yeah. It's gonna be the next thing I was going to do.
Just raw dog some protein powder straight out of the box or the can?
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. And people out there listening.
And he brings us to a fancy restaurant wearing fancy suits. They sit down and Peter points out that Chamberlain is sitting at another table as they speak. Chamberlain is talking with a very emotional guy. And he's panicking because they're still looking for the card, and Rosehill is supposed to be back in South Africa in 8 hours, which is when whoever is on the other side would realize the card that they have is missing. Chamberlain tells the guy have his men ready to go with the plan if they don't have the other card in 7 hours. So then the brothers follow the other guy, Kent, who ran the construction company from Denitra's informant. They wind up at a spa where they find out that Kent is meeting with a councilman. They approach the councilman when he's in a tanning bed and threaten him, then tie the tanning bed shut with towels so he gets a serious sunburn. And they find out where the councilman's car is and flips it in the parking lot. The councilman freaks out and calls Chamberlain, telling him he wants his money and he wants out of the deal. Tito loses his job as head of security and gets killed.
I thought, real quick, Ant, I thought that was the scene you were talking about. Someone watched the guy being trapped in the sauna bed.
Mm.
I thought it was a Final Destination thing. Like, that seems like an interesting way to kill someone.
Gotcha. Also, they did in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
That true. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Mm. Chamberlain sends his men to pick up the councilman as the guys wait for the councilman to make a move. Car shows up and winds up running down the councilman, then runs him over twice, then drives off. They try to pursue the car. They wind up getting stuck behind the cops in an ambulance, which may be the quickest response in history. And Dave gets out of the car, and Peter winds up sneaking off at the chaos. Dave and Whitney have to talk to the police chief about letting Peter get away. They kick Whitney off the case. Meanwhile, Peter is at the bank picking up the mirror card from a safe deposit box. At the precinct, Dave has another cop run a check and confirms that Chamberlain made a bunch of campaign contributions to the now deceased councilman. And Dave realizes that Peter stole his wallet. Peter's currently using said wallet to flash the badge at prison so that he could talk to a prisoner played by David Carradine. Peter shows Carradine the card and asks him about it. He tells him it's a depository card for a vault of diamonds worth upwards of $5 billion. Carradine tells him that the vault has a second vault in it with a time lock. You basically need a construction company to blow it up in order to access it.
I would have just loved to live the life of David Carradine at this point, to just pop in, make a few $1,000s, and do this one scene.
I got nervous for a second. You're like, I'd love to live the life of David Carradine. No, I don't know about that, Mark.
I said in this moment.
In this moment, yeah, that's what saved it. I was like, I was just look him up now. You might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's your thing.
Yeah. Could be.
Who knows?
We don't
I'm not here to judge.
No king shame. But yeah, just the idea, between how many days do you think they were shooting on martial law too? That he's in for that. It's like just pop in for 2 days. Make like $10,000 because working scale or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just pop out and do that like 10 to 15 times a year.
Mm-hmm. So ask Eric Roberts about it.
Yeah.
Seems to be what he does.
He's the king.
Meanwhile, Dave sneaks onto a live construction site as he follows Kent, but then he gets knocked out by a ponytail henchman. Dave wakes up tied to a chair and Chamberlain looking at him. Chamberlain starts asking questions about the card, but won't listen to him when he tells him that he's got the wrong guy. Then Peter shows up, gun drawn, but he immediately gives up the gun once they threaten Dave's life.
I do love the reaction of Chamberlain in this when the brother shows up and he goes, "Oh, I actually have to apologize to you for this."
Roddy McDowall is. Yeah. I think he's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, he's the only villain that is any good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, He's the right level of like psychotic, where he's menacing for a smaller guy, because you see he just kind of he'll give a word and his henchman will do what he wants. Like, oh, you're fired. Guy gets killed automatically. So it's like, oh man, this guy commands a lot of respect. It's pretty good, and he chews the scenery well.
Yeah, he does. Chamberlain takes the card and sets the plan in motion with Kent's crew, and Ponytail Henchman sets out to get rid of the brothers. But after Peter and Dave get into a squabble, they wind up able to get the upper hand on a couple of the guys and manage to get a couple of guns. A shootout and fight ensues. Dave almost gets shot by one of them, but is saved by Whitney coming out of nowhere with a shotgun.
This is when I like Whitney.
Yeah. Whitney! And then they tell Whitney to run off to call in the feds, which he does. Brothers hop into a Range Rover to chase after Chamberlain. Cops show up at the Diamond Exchange and secure all the exterior entrances.
By the way, did it not look like the Paul brothers getting that Range Rover? It's like people squeezing into a clown car.
Yeah, they make everything look pretty small. But as they're driving, Peter realizes that Kent has secured construction rights to the metro line that runs right underneath the Diamond Exchange. So that's probably where they're going to go. Sure enough, Kent sends his men down to blow up the vault right underneath. Chaos ensues as the brothers try to chase down the men. But Kent closes the door to the stairwells. The brothers chase him, letting them get away. At the airport, Chamberlain celebrates with the rest of his co-conspirators with champagne, but it turns out he's poisoned all of them, except for Kent, who doesn't drink, so he shoots him in the head instead. Victorious, Chamberlain heads to the plane, but he wasn't expecting two beefy dudes to flip his entire airplane over onto the tarmac. And the brothers show up.
Over.
Yep. Brothers show up, gunfight ensues. The pilot, hanging upside down, shoots Peter. Dave shoots the pilot. Chamberlain runs.
Yeah, there's a great line between the brothers. When he gets shot, he goes, "How you doing?" "I got shot."
You okay? No, I'm not okay. I was just shot. Fair enough.
David chases at Chamberlain into the hangar. Eventually, he shoots him, and then Peter drives away with the diamonds on those weird airport golf carts as David chases after him. And that is the end of Double Trouble. Very delightful little film.
Yeah, they kept the campiness up all throughout.
Yeah. Wasn't too campy, wasn't too tongue-in-cheek. It was the right amount.
Yeah, again, restraint. This movie knew how far to take it and how to kind of hold back on the silliness. But they had the perfect scenes right where, again, they lift the car, they lift the plane, they throw a giant satellite dish at someone.
That might be my favorite.
It's I didn't see that coming at all.
Absolutely not. It is perfectly not perfectly unexpected.
Yes.
Yeah, and also in that scene, I love the fact of them pulling the guy back up the rappel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the opposite of Chekhov's gun? Because that's what that satellite dish is.
Yeah, it's Barbarian's satellite dish.
I wonder if we rewatch the movie, show that satellite for no reason as they're running on the route, and it does become a Chekhov's gun.
Maybe, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about it in the group chat a couple days ago. Like, oh, I can't wait to see what kind of hidden gems we find this year. And just right out the gate, Double Trouble starts it off with a bang.
Yeah.
I was kind of confused as I was watching it. I was like, do I like this movie?
It is surprising, but yeah, no, they had quite a bit of on-screen presence. They were not bad.
No, I pleasantly surprised by them. The only media I had ever seen them in was the Best of the Worst video. I think they covered Barbarians, and they acted like dumb brutes in that because they're barbarians.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so it's more of the same. I thought would be Double Trouble, but no. Again, these guys were pretty crisp with their line delivery. I was shocked. I didn't think these guys could hold two sentences in their head. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Double Trouble, but we have a third segment left, and we're going to take a quick break, and you guys are going to listen to some ads to pay those bills, and we will be right back. And welcome back. Now it's time for our third segment, and this week is Fantasy Draft. And as we watch Double Trouble, this week's Fantasy Draft is Famous Twins. All right, so
Twins.
Twins. So off podcast, we spun our wheel, and we have our order. So it will go Mark, myself, and Dan, and then snake order back from Dan gets another pick, and then back the way around. So, Mark, do the honors. First pick, Fantasy Draft.
First pick overall. I'll take the most famous and successful twins of our lifetime. I will take Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Nice pick. Solid number one. Was number one on my list. Olsen's billion-dollar corporation.
And probably, if you ask someone to name twins, there's probably a high percentage chance it's the first one they mention.
Absolutely. Good pick. Can't go wrong with that one. All right. For my pick, I'm going with the 1991 World Series champions, Minnesota Twins.
Oh, I didn't know we could go that way.
Pretty good.
That's great.
Pretty good.
Sneaky. I like it.
Yeah, I like doing the whole team because I don't think it would be fair if we just started picking random Twins players.
Well, that's what I thought he was going with. I was like, there are twins on the Twins?
Nope.
That's interesting. Yeah.
The 1991 Minnesota Twins.
Very good. I'm glad you prefaced it with the World Series. not like the Twins of today.
Yeah. All right, Dan, your first set of twins.
Okay, so I would say not as famous as the Olsen twins, but they had their time in the 90s. I had a huge crush on them. I'm going Tia and Tamara from the Disney Channel.
All right.
They were my go-to twins. They were a little older, so it was okay.
Sister.
Yeah. It wasn't creepy for me to like them because they were older.
Well, aren't the Olsen twins also older than you?
Not by much, right? Maybe like...
I feel like they're like 86.
Oh, so that's a year older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So still, it feels creepier with the Olsen because everyone wanted the Olsen twins.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
It was a thing when they were turning 18, and it's super creepy.
Yeah. There was in one of the movies we covered, Cabin Fever. One of the characters has a T-shirt that has when the Olsen twins turn 18, the date.
Yeah.
On his shirt. So creepy stuff.
Yeah.
So for my second pick, this is so stupid. I'm taking the McGuire twins. And if you don't know who the McGuire twins are, they were the fat guys on the bikes. I think they were Guinness World Record holders for a time.
Like fattest twins, right?
Yeah. So, give me the McGuire twins, please.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
Two beefy boys.
Right. Two beefy boys, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I didn't really know that that's what their name was, but I did know that those guys existed.
The sad thing is they were the first people I thought of when we went. Oh, the fat guys on the bike.
I like that pick. All right. I am going to go with two. I think they're both Hall of Famers. The NFL. I'm going Rondé and Tiki Barber.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides of the football. I got covered.
Our running back and cornerback?
Yep.
Yes, cornerback.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Quality players.
Did Tiki Barber win a Did he win a Super Bowl? I think he retired the year before they won, right?
He did retire, yeah. Pretty sure. Yeah. All right.
But Rondé has a Super Bowl.
Rondé does have a Super Bowl.
Yes. So my next pick, going in the same vein as the Olsen twins, pick a pair of twins that are having success outside of their given industry. I will take the Bella twins.
Very good. That's who I was thinking about going with. But
they're very successful reality show people, and now they're off doing whatever they're doing that they don't need to do professional wrestling anymore. So
good for them.
Yeah, and one of them's married to probably still successful wrestler. Very another one that's probably get a good amount of people to guess them between the reality show and the wrestling. That's Famous Twins.
Mm-hmm.
And My next pick, there's one I really want to take. I will say it at the end, but I will in the vein of Ant's first pick. I will take the Doublemint twins with this pick.
Double your pleasure, Mark.
Yeah, double pleasure, double fun. the twins in the Doublemint commercial.
Yep, Doublemint twins works. Yeah, good job. solid list so far.
I had them on the list. If we went weird, and then you went weird immediately.
Yep. Sure. I don't think the Doublemint twins are that weird. That fits the criteria.
No. Like I didn't know we were going to like actual like twins. Like they,
sure.
They may actually be twins, but but when you said the 1991 Minnesota Twins, I'm like, well,
sure.
I know where I'm going.
Nostalgia. I love it.
Well, not to be outdone when it comes to weird, my third pick is going to be Akeem and Big Boss Man. Twin Towers.
Oh my God! It was Air Africa.
So if I didn't get the Bella Twins, I figured I had to get one in wrestling. So I went Akeem and Big Boss Man.
That's great. Good job, guys. I love it. I'm really digging it so far.
Right, Dan. Third and fourth picks.
All right, so my third pick, I'm gonna go with real life twins, Linda and Leslie Hamilton from Terminator 2. Just because they're badass. And I don't know if you'll let me do this, but you guys went weird. I'm gonna go Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
That was gonna be my last pick.
Well, I wasn't going that route until you went the twins. All right, we're gonna get weird. Let's get weird. So if you'll allow it, that's my last pick.
It counts. All right, for my last pick, it was going to be Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it's okay. I got a backup. I am going to go with the patron saint of our podcast, Neil Breen, playing Cade and Kale in the film Twisted Pair.
Oh, that's great.
Can't go wrong with Neil Breen.
Yeah, got to bring it back to the Breen.
Does he wear the goatee?
Yes, he does.
Oh, excellent. So good. Like evil Spock.
I can't wait.
Okay. Mark, bring us home. Your last pick.
So I my last one is I'm going to pick one where one twin is significantly more famous than the other. It could not go a podcast without choosing Vin Diesel and his brother Paul Vincent.
I knew it.
Brother Paul Vincent, that is, who is a monk. But there's another one out there.
Just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah.
If they need to do a Brian do Dom for Dom at some point.
Yeah. Well, that's what they did with what's his name, right? They used his brother, Paul Walker's brother. They'll just do that with Vin if Vin goes down early. You're right. We have a Diesel in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good job, Mark.
Yeah. Good job on the list. This was a lot more fun than I was expecting it to be.
I struggled at first.
Yeah, because I thought we were going to run out of twins.
Me too.
But then when we went the loosely defined version of twins.
Yep, that definitely it opened it up more. It was much better.
I was thinking about Annie and Hallie from The Parent Trap.
Oh,
those are good twins.
Those are good too. Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme in Double Impact.
Oh, God damn it. That's really good. That's a really good one. The ones where they can't be in the same space.
Yep. Oh, no, that's Time Cop.
Time Cop.
Yeah.
Oh, this was good. Part of me was also wanting to take the 1987 Minnesota Twins. But no, it was fun. Not too good of a joke. But yeah, there's a lot of. We left off a lot of actually famous twins.
I had the Johansson twins, Scarlett Johansson and her brother.
Dylan and Cole Sprouse.
Cole Sprouse would have been a good pick. That was on my list, my short list.
Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Sweet Life on Deck.
Yeah.
Big Daddy.
Yeah. The Benji and Joel Madden.
Good Charlotte.
Yeah. If you went to go political, there's Jen and Barbara Bush.
Sure. Hey, good. Oh, you could do Oh, I don't know if they're twins though. Ernest and Evil Ernest. I don't think they're real twins, right? It's just someone who looks like Ernest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably would have gave it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the other ones on my list.
Yeah.
And doing a quick Google search right now, Rami and Sammy Malik. John Heder has a twin.
Yeah. Ashton Kutcher has a twin.
And apparently Kiefer Sutherland has a twin.
Yeah. These don't.
Giselle Bundchen has a twin sister.
I love how Giselle Bundchen's twin is like not even close to being well known enough that on this list it just has it listed as, you know, so and so twins name and then just Giselle Bundchen.
Giselle Bundchen, yeah. And then obviously her sister.
Yeah, but they don't even like mention her name like a Giselle and so Bundchen.
It's Giselle and other. That must be rough to be in her shadow.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, well done.
And thanks to the Paul brothers for actually knowing how to make a B-rate action movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some fun with our movie this week.
Hell yeah. Good way to kick off 2024.
Yes. But that is our episode on Double Trouble. Thanks for listening. Check us out on our socials. That's TickTam Pod on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as Threads. And They Called This a Movie on the TikToks. Hit us up on Gmail at ticktampod@gmail.com if you want to hit us up. Suggestions. Oh, shit. Vince sent us something on X, which I'll get to next week. I'll mention it. But he sent us a nice little message.
Oh, very
Vince,
nice.
if you're listening, read it. We'll talk about it on air next week. Thank you for writing us. But yeah, hit us up. Tell us what movies we should be listening to or watching. And yeah, all that kind of good stuff. If you got 5 seconds, give us a 5-star review on all your podcatchers of choice. It helps a great deal. That's it. We're going to get out of here. The director of Double Trouble was John Paragon. So for Dan Aquino and Mark Myers, this is Anthony Davecchio telling John Paragon, well, you certainly made a movie, didn't you? Thanks for listening to They Called Us a Movie. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at TickTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. You can also check us out on TikTok at They Called Us a Movie.